So welcome to the St. Peter's Engineering College, Department of Civil Engineering, Department of Civil Engineering. So myself, V. Gajendra, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering. I am going to be teach the subject Transportation Engineering. This subject is going to be coming under fourth year, first semester, and under the regulations of R16. Under the regulations of Transportation Engineering subject for the fourth year, first semester, JNU University Hyderabad under R16 regulations. For this subject, the prerequisite is surveying. For this subject, the prerequisite is surveying, because once you are understanding the concepts in the surveying, thoroughly understanding the concept of the surveying, so then we can able to understand very easily the subject transportation engineering. So for the transportation engineering, the prerequisite is surveying. The surveying subject, the students is going to be studying in the second year, first semester. Once they are going to be gone through the concepts of surveying and geomatics, so then the students can able to easily understand their subject transportation engineering. So in this subject, in transportation engineering subject, so I'm start with the first unit 1, highway development and planning. Highway development and planning. First unit, I will tell highway development and planning. So before going for the unit 1, so just I will give the introduction. Then what are the objectives of the transportation engineering? So then I will go for the first unit, highway development and planning. So the transportation engineering subject. So the introduction to the transportation engineering. Why the civil engineering student has to be studying the transportation engineering. So the term itself is going to be giving as meaning the transportation. The transportation will be having the different modes we are going to be using. So transportation is going to be using the different modes we are going to be using to transport men and material. Transportation engineering, here we are going to be using the men and material we are going to be transporting from one place to other place. So where the important role is going to be taken by the transportation. What are the various modes of the transportation? What are the various modes of the transportation that we are going to call as highways or roadways? Highways or the roadways. So modes of the transportation, one is highways or the roadways. Second one is railways. Third one is airways. Fourth one is waterways. So the transportation engineering is going to be dealing with the various modes of the transportation, how we are going to be planning the facilities, how we are going to be planning the facilities, and how we are going to be constructing various modes of the transportation, that we are going to be called as planning, construction, and maintenance. So planning, construction, and first we will do the planning, then we will go for the construction. After the construction, so then we have to go for the maintenance, and then we are going for the rehabilitation. For the modes we are going to be using as the highway or the roadways, how we are going to be planning, how we are going to be constructing, and how we are going to be maintaining. Railways, how we are going to be constructing, planning, constructing, and maintaining. Airways and the waterways. But in the transportation engineering subject, so we are going for the planning and construction and maintenance of the completely with the roadways. Roadways are the highways, and separate subject will be there for the railways, airways, and waterways. So here the modes of the transportation, we can able to see that. So the highways and roadways and the railways completely comes under the surface transportation. The surface transportation we are going to be provided through the transporting the men and material to the origin point to the destination point by using the road network, and by the various vehicles that we are going to be using the road transportation vehicles. In highways or the roadways, road transportation vehicles we are going to be using to transport men and materials to from one place to other place. Similarly, in the railways, also is going to be called as surface transportation, provided through the railway network. And here also we are going to be transporting the demand and material in huge magnitude. We can say that the huge commodity we are going to be transporting from one place to other place, that is going to be possible by using the railways. But highways and roadways only for the limited, so the limited magnitude of the vehicle, magnitude we are going to be transporting from one place to other place. So limited magnitude of the commodity we are going to be transporting from one place to other place by the highways and roadways, and from the railways we can go for a huge commodity. So that is possible, the surface transportation. Then the other one is going to be called as airways, is going to be called the fastest transportation mode. By through the air we are going to be provided to reach the one place to other place. There also we are going to be transporting men and materials. The materials we are going to be using that the cargo transportation, men or the passenger transportation we are going to be provided from one place to other place with the fastest time, with the fastest possible time we are going to be doing is going to be called airways. So that's why the airways is going for the the expensive transportation when we are going to be comparing with the highways and railways. Then finally we are going for the waterways. See, here also is going to be possibility of the transportation of the men and material through the water. So here the medium of transportation is water, here the medium of transportation is air, and here the medium of transportation we are going to be using as the surface. Surface is the medium we are going to be using. So by using that the road vehicles, by using that the trains in the railways, and by airways the aeroplanes, and waterways we are going to be called ships, we are going to be, or the boats we are going to be using for the transportation of men and material. So these are the various modes of the transportation that we are going to be planning, we are going to call it as transportation engineering. So in this transportation engineering, we are going to be dealing with completely with the road user characteristics, and how the road constructions will be there, how we are going to planning the road constructions, and how the systems that we are going to provide for the road users. That is known as the transportation systems. One is transportation facility we are going to be provided. Other side we are going to provide the transportation system. The transportation system that is going, we are going to be controlling that the road users and passenger pedestrians, controlling the pedestrians and road users, how they are going to be traveling on the roads or the highways, that we are going to be called as traffic part. So that we are going to be called as controlling systems, and as well as the construction of the roads, either are going to be studied in the transportation engineering. So then once you are, what is the purpose or what is the objective of the transportation engineering? This is the thing we are going for, the understanding that the planning, construction and maintenance principles in the transportation engineering exclusively for highways or the roadways. Then what is the importance of the transportation engineering? Why the transportation engineering will be needed for the society? So this is the transportation engineering for any country to develop. So that is we are going to be called as social. First one is going to be called as economical, industrial, cultural, social, so the development of the any country is going to be completely depending upon how the transportation facilities we are going to be provided. So there is the economical development, industrial development, cultural development, and social development. Social development, all it is going to be possible by the what is the transportation network we are going to be provided, or what is the transportation network we are going to be designed. In what way is the transportation engineering is going to be, so it is going to be improving the societal needs is economical way. So the economy of the country is going to be so completely depending upon that the transportation network. Means we are going to provide the connectivity of the roads, we are going to be transporting the people and as well as the material from one place to other place automatically. So growth of the country is going to be economic growth of the country, and economics is going to be developed. So how the network we are going to be provided, and what distance we are going to be provided their road network. Based on that one, the growth of the country and economical way, economics is going to be improved. And then the next one is going to be called as industrial development. So complete industrial development also is going to be development of the industries is going to be based on that how the road network is going to be there, how the road network planning is there, how road network is going to be constructed, such that it is going to be development of the industries in the states or in the districts or in other places, how the network will be there, how we are going to transport it from one place to other place, in what way the industries is going to be developed is. So this is going to be called as from we are going for the manufacturing industries to that the distribution centers. Manufacturing industries to the distribution centers. For the manufacturing industry, suppose one manufacturing industry is going to be started. For that, what are the raw materials will be needed? What are the raw materials will be needed? That is going to be supplied through that the vehicles only. Road vehicles only, supplied through the road vehicles only. If proper road network or the proper roadways or the highways are developed or we are going to plan to the industry such that raw materials is going to be transported. That is in the initial stage of the industrial development. Then later onwards, we have to go for the final development. So once the material is going to be prepared or material is going to be manufactured in the industry, so then we cannot keep it in the same manufacturing unit. We have to go for the distribution through the outlets, the various outlets. That is we are going to call it marketing. So marketing we have to be done. For that marketing also that is going to be comes as the retail, wholesale and retail. Wholesale and retail is going to be possible through the various road networks that has to be reaches to the various places in the country. Various places in the country that is completely is going to be developed or the planned by using the road network. Then automatically industrial development also taken place. Means proper road network or proper highways is going to be designed or the plan automatically economically the country is going to be improved, industrially the country is going to be improved. So this in that way it is going to be connected. The transportation network or transportation engineering is going to be helping the country to develop economical and to develop industrial wise. So whatever it may be, clothing industry or it is going to be called as any type of food industry or any type of industry that needs the raw materials for the starting stage. After the raw materials, it is going to reaches to the manufacturing unit. Then they are going to be prepared. They are going to be manufactured. After the manufacturing and packing is over, then we have to go for distribution to the wholesale and retail. That also we require that the transportation network or the road network will be needed. So that's why the industrial growth and industrial development is going to be possible if you are having the proper transportation facilities. Then the cultural and social both will be is going to be developed because the tendency of the people has to be moved from one place to the other place. That is going to be possible through the road network or the railway network. So then, so if the tendency of the people, they have to be moving from one place to the other place. Automatically, each and every place will be having some traditions. The exchange of the traditions is going to also is going to be possible. Automatically, it will be influenced on the cultural and social development of the people in the society. Cultural and social development also is going to be taken place if the tendency of the people is going moving from one place to the other place. So one place moving from one place to other place. Earlier in olden days, they are going to be moving from one place to other place by walking only, walking through that way, distances, various so many kilometers. They are going to reaching to the different places. Now that is going to be replaced by the roads. So then by using vehicles, where the people can able to move from one place to the other place automatically. Cultural development and social development also is going to be taking place. Means isolation of the people from the villages or from the towns is going to be eliminated by using the transportation facility. Isolation, there is no isolation will be there. So the people can able to travel from one place to the other place very easily through the road network or the railway network. Whatever the modes of transportation is available through that one, they can able to move from one place to other place. This will be reflecting on that the cultural development and social development. Means overall the development of the country is going to be completely depending upon how the efficient road system we are going to be provided, how the efficient transportation system we are going to be provided, lagging of the transportation system. So the weakness in the transportation system is going to be reflecting onto that the growth of the country in economical perspective or industrial perspective or cultural and social perspective. So that's why If the transportation is going to be needed, and so there is going to be a movement of the people and the material is going to be taken place by using the proper transportation network. Proper transportation network. The roadways or the highways, the proper roadways or the highways we are going to plan and constructed automatically. The development is going to be taking place. So development is going to be taking place. That due to that reason, transportation engineering is going to be very important in the respect with for the civil engineering students to understand the concepts and to go for the based on the requirement. They are going for the planning of the roads, the construction of the roads, maintaining of the roads, and rehabilitation of the roads. Each and every aspect is going to be connected, interconnected one. First we do the planning, then we will go for the construction, then we will go for the maintenance. Last part is going to be called the rehabilitation part. So in that way, the transportation engineering is subject is going to be very important for the civil engineering students. So this is about the introduction part of the transportation engineering. Why transportation engineering is necessary or important for the civil engineering students. So for the and these are the objectives we are going to be covering. So then we have to be understand that the subject. So various books or textbooks are available. That is the highway engineering by S.K. Khanna and C.Z. Gisto. So this is the one of the standard book is going to be available to for the better understanding. The student can go through that the highway engineering book by highway engineering by S.K. Khanna and C.Z. Gisto and principles and practice of highway engineering by Dr. L.R. Kadiali. So one book is Highway Engineering by S.K. Khanna and C.G. Gisto. Other book is Principles and Practice of Highway Engineering by Dr. L.R. Kadiali. Is another textbook is available for the better understanding of the concepts in the transportation engineering. So then another book is another textbook is referred by reference is going to be called Highway Engineering by Garber and Ho. Garber and Ho is one of the another textbook for the for the Prentice Hall publications. Garber and Ho highway engineering textbook also is going to be available for the better understand the concepts of transportation engineering. Then highway engineering by S.P. Bindra. S.P. Bindra, Dhanpat Roy Sons. So another textbook is available, or reference book is available to go through the concepts of the transportation engineering. Because transportation engineering is going to be covering with the traffic part as well as the highway part. Both the parts will be there, but all the textbooks is going to be covering the highway and traffic engineering part. By the first one is S.K. Khanna and C.G. Gisto. So that is the Neemchand brothers. And second book is Principles and Practice of Highway Engineering by Dr. L.R. Kadiali, Khanna Publishers. Then the Highway Engineering by Garban Hoel, Printers Hall, Highway Engineering by S.P. Bindra. So that is the Dhanpat Roy Sons. These are the important reference books. The textbooks are available to go through the various concepts in highway and as well as the traffic engineering part. Transportation is divided into the highway construction of the roads and highways, and the other one is going to be called as the transportation systems were going to be provided in terms of the traffic engineering. So that is also the another part we are going to be covering in the transportation engineering. That is the safe movement of the road users as well as the safe movement of the roadway vehicles. So that is going to be controlled by the controlling of the vehicles is going to be done by the principles of traffic engineering. Now coming to the unit one. So this is going to be unit one is going to be discussing about the highway development and planning. Highway development and planning. in this highway development and planning, we are going to be first. We have to see that. So what is the historical development? Historical development of the roads. Then the second one is highway planning in India. Next, after understanding the concept of the highway planning in India, then classification of the roads. After understanding the classification of the roads, types of road development plans. Types of road development plans. Then after that, the types of road development plans. Types of road development plans. Then the road patterns or the road networks. Road patterns or various road networks. Various road networks. Then after that, understanding that the concept, then what is meant by the alignment. After understanding the concept of the alignment, factors affecting alignment. Then what are the different surveys that will be needed for to go for the highway development, highway planning surveys, road surveys. Then the last one is going to be called as the preparation of highway project. Preparation of drawings for road project. Preparation of the drawings for the road projects. So this is the entire unit one is going to be covering from the beginning to that. The first one is going to be called as historical development. Then after that, so what is the highway planning in India? What is the necessity of the highway planning in India? Then the classification of the roads. After understanding the classification of the roads, so the 20-year road development plans. What are the different types of the 20-year road development plans? How the development of the roads taken place in India in a stage wise. That is going to be so described by using the three 20-year road development plans. So after road development plans, of understanding that one, and what are the various road patterns, types of the road patterns or the road networks that is going to be designed for the road constructions. Then the alignment, what is meant by the alignment, and what are the factors affecting the alignment, and what are the various road surveys is going to be needed for the construction of a road. That is the preliminary surveys that is going to be needed for a construction of a road. Then finally, preparation of various drawings. From the survey is going to be completed, so we are going to be getting the output in the form of a plan or the map or the drawings we are going to be prepared. So various drawings that will be needed for the road construction project, or we are going to call the road project. So this is going to be discussing entirely in the unit one. So the first one is going to be called as historical development in India. Historical development of roads. How the road development is going to be taken place from the olden days to the, so that is the ancient olden days to the so after the free India movement. So first is going to be called as ancient roads. So that is 3500 BC. First the roads, the development of the roads is going to be started with the ancient 3500 BC. Then after that it is going to be started Mughal period. So in that is the 15th century. Then British came to India. So then the period is 17th and 18th century. Then finally, so free India, the road development starts from 19th century. Or we can say that 1950 onwards. 1950 onwards. 1950 onwards. So this is the various phases of road development, or what is the importance of the construction of the roads is going to be started. So the ancient roads, 3000, 3500 BC. So that is going to be started with Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So they starts with the Harappa and Mohenjo. Throughout the world, if you take that, Romans are the pioneers in the road construction. That's why all the roads lead to the Roman. All the roads lead to the Roman. One slogan will be there. So the pioneers in the road construction, or we can say that the pioneer, we are going to be called as the first started roads in the road development is taken place in the Romans, in the Rome. So that's the Roman roads are the famous. Later onwards, the development is taken place in various countries. In India, we started with the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Then after that, we can say that Maurya kingdom, Mauryans, they developed the roads. Then Ashoka regime, Asoka dynasty is a more popular one. The Asoka time, we can see that almost all the wider roads is going to be constructed, and then besides of the road, the tree plantation is going to be taken place. So this is the landscaping there itself is going to be started. Landscaping of the roads there itself is going to be started from Asoka regime itself, not now in the modern period itself. Ashoka regime or the Asoka dynasty, they started the wider roads with the tree plantation, that we are going to call a landscaping. So then we can able to get the good approach of the roads that they taken place in the Ashoka regime. So this is the starting period of their road development. Then after that, almost all they developed the roads like anything in the Harappan, Mohenjo-daro, Maurya dynasty and Ashoka dynasty. So then the Mughal period, still they developed more wider roads and the road development network. India is going excellent in the time of the Mughals. After that, Mughals then started with the British period. So in this British period, almost all, so the road development is deteriorated. Almost all, the road development is not taken place in a proper direction. In previous, almost all, we can say that the trunk roads is going to be developed by the Mughals. Previously, Mauryan and Ashoka dynasty also they prepared, they constructed well built roads. So in the form of trunk roads. Then after that, British came to the India. Then the deterioration of the roads is taken place. There is no development in the roads or the road construction. Then it is going to be after that, after the British, they developed the one organization. That is one thing they did well is going to be called PWD. So Public Works Department. So the Works Department is going to be taken care of the all the construction of the roads. So that is they started the system Public Works Department. Now itself also is going to be continuing. Now we are going to be called as so State Public Works Department and Central Public Works Department, CPWD. CPWD is the Central Public Works Department, completely taken care. Then after that, it is going to be once again it is going to be subdivided the roads and buildings. Public Works Department is going to be called as society need. The road development is going to be called as society needs. That's why they named it as Public Works Department. Completely the sanitation, sanitary, and as well as the road development taken care by the Public Works Department. Water supply and sewage distribution and the road development all together they are going to be controlled by the Public Works Department. So the British government they started the system is going to be called the system in terms of the government is called as a public works department. Later, so 1950, so the Free India movement started. Free India. So from 1950 onwards, so the Indian government is going to be more focused on the road development because almost all there is no development of the roads in the British regime or in British period. the road condition is very bad, or we can say that the road condition, the roads are deteriorated, so not giving the better level of service. So then it is going to be so improved by the after 1950 onwards with the various road development plans. So this is we are going to be called as the various phases of the development taken place in the historical or the history. History starts with the road development. The first priority is going for the road development. Later they went for the various developments in terms of the agriculture, in terms of other industries, or the secondary. For the uh, primary objective is that one, the development of the roads, because it is the backbone for any development taken place with respect of the road network. That's why the first priority is going to be given for the road network or the road development, or we can say that the road construction. So then after that, the highway planning, how taken place in the in India, highway planning. So this highway planning is started in the year 1920 itself. So highway planning in India started in the British government. In the British government, they say taking initiation by the JICA committee. One committee is going to be formed in 1927. So the JICA committee is formed to go for the development of the roads. So the JICA is the chairman for the committee, and but there that committee is going to be established in the year 1927, and they given some recommendations. What are the recommendations? So recommendations pertaining to the highway planning, how the highway planning has to be taken place. So the first priority is going to be for the JICA committee and recommendations in highway planning. So JICA committee recommendations. JICA committee recommendation. First recommendation given by the JICA committee in the year 1927. It is formed in the 1927. What is the first priority is going to be given is going to be called as road development. Road development as a national interest. Road development as a national interest is going to be the first priority is going to be given for the JICA committee. Then the second, the recommendation given by the JICA committee is going to be called as so the tax levied on petrol. So the on petrol, the tax is going to be provided, the tax levied on petrol. So that is going to be called as road development fund. Constituting as a road development fund. Constituting as a road development fund. Whatever the petrol we are going to be using for the roadway vehicles, so we are going to be putting the tax onto the tax on petrol, such that whatever the amount that we are going to be collecting from the petrol road users, that we are going to be constituting as a road development fund. So a separate fund is going to be created for the development of the roads. So that is going to be initiated by the Central Road Fund. Central Road Development Fund. In the year 1932. Sorry, in the year 1929. In the 1929, so the Road Development Fund is going to be called as Central Road Development Fund is constituted in that Central Road Development Fund. So they are going to be collecting the tax from the petrol, then that we are going to be using for the various road constructions in India itself. Various types of the roads or various categories of the roads that is going to be constructed. Whatever the amount we are collecting from the petrol. So that is known as the Central Road Development Fund. In the year 1929 is generated, and from there it is going to be started, and they are going to be using for the various road construction purposes. That is, tax is going to be levied on petrol. And what is the third recommendation? This is the second recommendation. And third recommendation is going for, so develop or constituting a semi-technical body to know technical body to generate and to pool the technical consultation and specifications throughout the country. So developing the semi-technical body. So that is going to be called as the technical consultation and specifications organization is going to be developed. So they are going to be giving the recommendation that one organization, so semi-technical organization has to be formed to know that the technical specifications and to know to go for the various constructions of the rural development. So that is in terms of IRC. So that is in the year 1932. IRC is going to be developed in the year 1932. So with the Jaker Committee recommendations, 1927 Jaker Committee, 1929 Central Road Development Funds. Then after that IRC. So Indian Road Congress. Indian Road Congress is going to be called as central government organization. So what is the objective of this central government organization, Indian Road Congress? IRC is known as the Indian Road Congress. IRC, Indian Road Congress. Indian Road Congress. What is the objective of the Indian Road Congress is that, so throughout the India, wherever in any place in India, the road is going to be constructed. What are the specifications for the material, specifications for the methodology, each and everything they are going to be tabulated, and they are going to be preparing the standards. We can say that the standard specifications is going to be prepared by Indian Road Congress. So that is the objective of the Indian Road Congress. They are going to be standard procedures and standard specifications is going to be developed by the central government organization IRC. Indian Road Congress is going to be formed with the Jaker Committee recommendations. The last recommendation is going to be given by another one is going to be called as Central Road Research Institute. Jaker Committee is going to be recommended that one research organization, CRI is going to be called as a research organization. Central Road Research Institute. CRI is going to be called as Central Road Research Institute. Central Road Research Institute. The Central Road Research Institute is the research organization. This is the following the recommendations of Jaker Committee. Jaker Committee is going to be given the recommendations that one research organization, in addition to that, the Indian Road Congress. So that is going to be called as standard specifications, standard procedure organization. In addition to that one, so they want to prepare the specifications or standard procedures. So first they have to do the research. Where they have to do the research? The research is going to be done in the Central Road Research Institute, CRRI. So there is a research organization coming under the CSIR. So coming under the CRRI, coming under the CSIR labs. So that is the CSIR is the Council of Scientific, Industrial, Research Labs. CSIR labs throughout the India we are having with the various names. In that way, one name is going to be called Central Road Research Institute. Another one is going to be called as NEERI. So Nagapur Environmental Engineering Research Institute, that is completely for the water and environmental engineering related to the water and sea waste research is going to be done, taken place, is called NERI. So these are all going to come under the CSIR labs. So Council of Scientific and Industrial Research under the name of CSIR, CRRI, Central Road Research Institute, constituted in the year 1950. In the year 1950. So what is the objective of the CRRI is that they are going to doing the research. Whatever the specifications they want to develop, specifications that they want to develop, and the procedures they want to develop for a new roads, new type of the roads. First, they have to do the research. Once we are able to get the positive results from the research and positive result, then they are going to be preparation of the specifications, preparation of the procedures, preparation of the standard procedures is done in the is done in the IRC, Indian Road Congress, and they are going to be preparing the standard books. So that is we are going to call as codal provisions or the code books. They are going to be prepared. Code books are going to be prepared by Indian Road Congress. So what is the code book is going to be giving you that importance is going to be given that the standard specifications and standard procedures throughout India will be the same one. I want to construct a road, the bitumen road. I want to construct cement concrete road. The standard procedures will be same one. Procedure will be the same one. Specifications will be same one throughout India where they are going to be constructed. So that is the policies, procedures, and the specifications that is going to be developed by the in terms of the code book that is going to be done by prepared by the Indian Road Congress with the help of Central Road Research Institute. So that's why we can say that the JICAR committee recommended that first one is going to be called as first priority is going to be given for road development as a national interest. Second one is going to be called as tax is going to be levied on petrol. Is going to be creating that creating that one revenue that we are going to call it as Central Road Development Fund. Then third one is going to be called as the formation of Indian Road Congress for the standard specifications and standard procedures. And fourth one is going to be called as one research institute will be needed. So to develop the research, to develop the new technologies and new researchers that will be to prepare that the standard procedures and as well as the standard specifications for the Indian Road Congress, or we have to prepare a code book. So this is taken place with the help of CRI. So this is the JICAR committee recommendations. So in the year 1927, they started and the stage by stage development of the road. Then then they are going for the tax. Then the Indian Road Congress is developed. Then CRRI. After that, National Highway Authority of India (NHAI) also is going to be developed. So after 1950, so CRI started in the year 1950. After 1950. National Highway Authority of India is going to be responsible for construction of highways, national highways throughout the India. So they are going to be giving the specifications and procedures by the National Highway Authority of India. They are maintaining the standards with the help of Indian Road Congress. So one body is going to be is formed as National Highway Authority of India, responsible for construction of national highways throughout the India. So this is the various central government organizations are so formed to help for the construction of the roads throughout the India, and then the proper road network is going to be constructed. Proper and efficient road network is going to be constructed by the help of CRRI, help of IRC, and help of National Highway Authority of NHAI. So after understanding that the JICAR committee and recommendations, so then the another one next is going to be called as the classification of the roads. So I want to go for the construction of a road. First of all, I have to know about that. What are the various classification of the roads? Understanding that the types of the roads, then we can go for the planning and construction and maintenance of the roads. Classification of the roads first is going to be called as based on season. Based on the season, so the roads are going to be classified based on the season. The roads are classified. The first one is going to be called as all weather roads. And second one is going to be called as fair weather roads. So first classification is going to be called as, it is going to be The objective is that when it is going to fulfill that the seasonal variation or the various seasons, it has to be fit. So then the roads are going to be classified as all weather roads, and then is going to be called as fair weather roads. So what is meant by the all weather roads? What is meant by the fair weather roads? The term itself is going to be giving a meaning that all weather. All weather means the road is going to be constructed, is going to be suitable, and it is going to be long lasting for any season. That is the winter season or so rainy season or summer season. Winter as well as summer and rainy season. So that will be the facilities are that will be giving the services throughout the year. Services is going to be throughout the year. Then it is going to be called as all weather roads. Even for summer, even for winter, even for rainy, because the season, why they mentioned the season is that one, in winter it is going to be very cold, how it is going to be, so the road is going to be giving the services. In the summer, high temperatures are there existing in the prevailing conditions, how the road is going to be giving the services. In the rainy season, because of the rain, so the heavy downpour or the rainfall, how the services is going to be given by the road, because every chances will be there, the road is going to be deteriorated depending upon the seasonal variation, because of the cold or because of the high temperature and because of the water stagnation. The services of the road or the level of service is going to be varies. So that's why it is going to be, so the road is going to be giving the services for the all the seasons. Then it is going to be called as all weather roads. Then the another one is going to be called as the fair weather roads. Here the road is going to be giving services all the seasons except in the monsoon period. That's why we are going to be called as fair weather roads. Monsoon, or we can say that the rainy season. Rainy season is not going to be giving the services. It is going to be affected by that the heavy downpour or the heavy rainfall, because all the causeways is going to be overflowing. So the road is going to be deteriorated. Somewhat is going to be deteriorated, is not going to be providing the services where overflow of the water taken place on the road. In remaining case, if we take the all-weather roads, there is no overflow is going to be taken place in such a way that the road is going to be constructed. That's why we are going to call it all-weather roads. It is going to be giving the services for any season, either winter or rainy season, or it is going to be called a summer season. But fair weather roads, it is going to be giving for the services for the winter, is going to be giving the services for the summer, except in the monsoon period. That is the so rainy season is not going to be giving the proper services. So because so the causeways, wherever the causeways we are going to be provided, means the overflowing of the water going to be taken place. So then the road is going to be inundated, and the road is not going to be providing the proper services, appropriate services. That's why we are going to call it fair weather roads. Weather is going to be fair, then only the services is going to be, we can able to extract it. If the weather is going to be disturbed, so because of the rainfall, so the road is not going to be providing the appropriate services. That is we are going to call as fair weather roads. Then the classification of the roads based on the carriageway. So the classification of the roads based on the carriageway. Carriageway means we are going to call it as the road transportation, width of the road that is going to be so necessary to go for the roadway vehicles, roadway vehicles, that we are going to call it carriageway. Here also we can say that the term itself is going to be giving you meaning carriageway. It is going to be carrying the roadway vehicles. Means the road is going to be surfaced or unsurfaced. And what is the width of the road is going to be available. So based on that one, the road is going to be classified. That we are going to be called as single lane roadway. And then it is going to be called as multiple lane roadway. Single lane roadway and multiple lane roadway. So we can call it a single carriageway and multiple carriageway. Single carriageway means this is the single carriageway. Multiple carriageways. So only this is the width of the road available for the vehicles. Only that's why we are going to call a single lane or single carriageway. So here only the width of the road is almost 3.75 meters. Width of the road is here the 3.75 meters. Here width of the road is 3.5 and 3.5. Means we are going to using for one direction of vehicles, another direction of the vehicles. Here So the two-way traffic is going to be allowed. Here is only one-way traffic is going to be allowed. Here also two-way traffic is allowed, but it is width of the road is going to be very narrow. If both the two-way direction or one-way direction is going to be taken place, one-way traffic and two-way traffic is going to be taken place in the single carriageway. This is single carriageway, and this is called, we are going to be called as a dual carriageway or the multiple lane. So the two roads are separated by the median, that we are going to call as dual carriageway or multiple lane. And single carriageway or the single lane, only width of the road is available is going to be called as 3.75 meters. Here the width of the road is available. One side is 3.5 meters, other side is going to be 3.5 meters. The two lane will be available are dual carriageway. This is single carriageway and this is dual carriageway available for the movement of the vehicles. So here the more safety concern will be there. Here there is safety concern is less because width of the road is very narrow. So the two-way or one-way traffic is taken place. So then every chances are there for the collision of the vehicles. But here the collision of the vehicles and overtaking is safe. Here the collision of the vehicles and overtaking is dangerous. So that is we are going to call it based on the carriageway. The roads is going to be classified as single carriageway and dual carriageway. So the classification of the roads based on the surfacing provided. Based on surfacing provided. So here we are going to be called as paved roads, and another one is going to be called as unpaved roads. Based on surfacing, we are going to be called roads are going to be classified as paved roads and unpaved roads. What is the meaning of paved roads? The term itself is going to be giving you meaning paving. Means the surface we are going to be provided. Here the paved roads, the surfacing we are going to be provided with the bitumen or cement concrete. It is going to be paving. The top surface is going to be laid with impermeable layer. Impermeable layer by using the bitumen. Earlier we are going to be called as tar roads. Now the tar roads are not available. So is going to be outdated one. Now the tar roads is going to be replaced by the bitumen. This is going to be called as petroleum compound. So the petroleum composition, bitumen is going to be called as the waste product from the petroleum refineries. We are able to get it that we are going to provide as impermeable layer, not the permeable layer. It is going to be called as impermeable layer. The water is not going to be percolated into them. So that's why we are going to call impermeable layer. We are going to provide it by using the material we are going to call it bitumen. Then we are going to be called as bitumen roads, or sometimes we are going to be called as black top roads. Black top roads we are going to be called as bitumen roads. So that is paving we are going to be provided. So bottom or the ground surface is going to be called a foundation course. We are having that the existing soil. Then above that we are going to be provided with that the coarser fraction. Coarse aggregate we are going to provide. Stone aggregate we are going to be rolled. First one is going to be called as natural occurring soil. We are going to be rolled. Above that one we are going to provide with the aggregate. Stone aggregate we are going to be rolled. Then above that one, we are going to provide the surfacing. That's why based on surfacing, the roads are going to be classified as paved. The paving is going to be done by using the bitumen material. So the top layer, we are going to be provided with the bitumen, or that we are going to call a blacktop surface roads. Bitumen road we are going to provide as impermeable layer. Then another material we are going to be using is going to be called as cement concrete. So cement concrete roads, we are going to call as cement concrete roads. Here also soil. Above that directly we are going to lay that the cement concrete slab. Laying that the cement concrete slab. We are going to call as cement concrete roads, or we are going to call as cement concrete pavements. Bituminous pavements or the bituminous roads or blacktop roads. And another one is going to call as cement concrete is going to be provide the surfacing. So surfacing or topmost layer we are going to be covering with the cement concrete. That's why we are going to call it cement concrete roads. The topmost layer of the road construction we are going to be paving with the bitumen. That's why we are going to call it bitumen roads or blacktop roads. So this is based on the surfacing is going to be called paved roads. Then the another one classification we are going to be called as unpaved roads. Unpaved roads means as it is by using that earth roads. And we are going to be called as WBM roads. Earth roads and WBM roads we are going to be called as unpaved roads. Means we are not going to be provided their top surface we are not going to be paving, we are going to be leaving as it is. Earth roads means that is almost all we are going to be called village roads or soil roads. Directly, so on the soil, above the soil, natural occurring soil. So the road is going to be prepared and the road transportation is going to be taking place, that we are going to call the earth roads. The best example is that almost all in village roads is going to be called the earth roads. So then another is going to be called as WBM roads. In some cases, we are going to call it district roads. If you go to the higher category of the roads, village roads is the lowest category of the roads. If you go for the higher category of the roads, is going to be called WBM, water-bound macadam roads. WBM is going to be called as water-bound macadam roads. Water-bound macadam roads. How the construction is going to be taking place here is that, so the having that the earth layer or the natural occurring soil. Above that one, we are going to provide laying that stone aggregate, and we are going to roll. So then we are going to allowing that the road traffic, that is known as a water-bound macadam road. Water-bound macadam road. We are going to be spraying the water, and we are going to be rolled enough, and we are going to be well compacted. So that we are going to be called as water-bound macadam road. Some of the villages or some of the district roads completely, we are not going to be covering with the surfacing like bitumen, or we are going to be not covering with the cement concrete. We are leaving as it is, and the traffic is going to be taking place. So that we are going to be called as unpaved roads. We are not going to be paved. So examples are earth roads and WBM roads, waterborne macadam roads, coming under the classification of the unpaved roads, because this is all. So where the traffic volume will be very less, where the traffic volume will be very high, then it is going to be done with the paving, that we are going to call it as paved roads. Bitumen roads and cement concrete roads are, so we are going to be designed for heavy traffic, and that are all we are going to call as impermeable roads. These are all permeable roads. If you take that the waterborne macadam road and earth roads are the permeable roads, it is water is going to be percolating into that one, so the road is going to be deteriorated very fast. In case of bitumen road and cement concrete road, the road is long life. They will be having deterioration is going to be less. Deterioration or the damage for the road surface is less. In the case of paved roads, in the case of unpaved roads, damage is going to be very fast after the construction. So then the classification also, one more classification based on traffic volume. Classification based on traffic volume. Here it is going to be called as high traffic, medium traffic, and light traffic. So based on the traffic volume also, the roads is going to be classified. So that is a high volume traffic or high traffic volume roads, medium traffic volume roads, and light traffic volume roads. That is in terms of vehicular traffic. If the vehicular traffic will be very high more, then we are going to call it a high volume traffic, high traffic volume roads. If the vehicular traffic is medium, so then the classification is going to be given by Indian Road Congress. They are given some specification that what is the high traffic volume roads, what is the medium traffic volume roads, what is the low traffic volume roads, or the light traffic volume roads. So the IS given the various specifications. Based on that one, they are going to be classified into high, medium, and light or low. Light or low. Next is the classification based on load transported or tonnage. Classification based on load transport or tonnage. Here main thing is what is the tonnage. Tonnage is going to be transported per day. Based on that one is going to be called as class 1, class 2, or it is going to be called as class A or class B. So this is based upon the tonnage, based on the tonnage per day. So the roads is going to be classified class 1, class 2. Heavy loaded roads is the class 1. So the next one is going to be called as medium or the low tonnage is going to be transported. You are going to be designed as class 2. Because if the load is going to be very heavy, what is the total thickness of the road we had to be designed. So that's why we have to be categorized to the high, and other one is going to be called as medium and light traffic or light loaded or the low. So the low tonnage. If the low or the medium tonnage will be there, what is the thickness of the road we are going to provide it? Thickness of the various layers of the road we are going to provide such that the load is going to be transmitted to the various layers and it is going to be safe. If you are not going to be designed based on the tonnage or based on the load, the road is going to be got damaged very quick, or the distress or the damage is going to occur, or the road is going to be deteriorated because of the load. So the continuous, or the we can say that the repeated action of the wheel loads on the traffic, if you are not going to be calculated or evaluated based on the tonnage or the load, the road get damaged very fast or very quick. So for that reason, they are going to be roads is going to be classified for heavy tonnage or the medium or low tonnage. The roads is going to be classified, and they are going to be designed various layers of the road or the various layers of the pavement itself. Next, the last classification is based on function, location and function. Classification based on location and function. Classification of the roads based on location and function. So they are going to be called as national highways, state highways, major district roads, other district roads, village roads. NH is national highways. SH is state highways. MDR is major district road. ODR is other district road. VR is village roads. So this is the classification based on location function. So the national highway, NH, SH state highways, MDR major district road, ODR other district road, VR village roads. So the classification based on location, what is the location will be there, how it is going to be functioning. So first one is going to be called as, first priority is going to be called as national highways. NH is the first priority. National highways. What is the importance of the national highways? When we can call it as national highways? So this is going to be starting from, it is going to be connecting that important important foreign country roads, state capitals, and the major roads in the country, connecting the ports, connecting the airport and as well as seaports and tourist places and commercial places in the country. So that we are going to call as national highways. First priority we are going to call as nation. So completely, so the capitals of the nation, capitals of the states, and the foreign highways that is going to be connected. In addition to that one is going to be connected with the major airports and major seaports, industrial places, and as well as commercial places. So that we are going to be called. So throughout the length and width of the country, the roads are going to be connecting, that we are going to call as national highways. So this is under the control of central government. Then this going to comes as the state highways. The state highways is within the state, and it is going to be connecting with the district lower category of the roads and as well the higher category of the roads. It is going to be connecting with the national, and it is going to be within the city, state, and then another classification is going to be called as district. So the state highways are within the state, the road is going to be connected various places, various state capitals, as well as the major ports and seaports is going to be connected. That we are going to be called as state highways within the city, and also it is going to be called as the district and then the higher category of the roads of the national classification of the roads is going to be called national highways. Then we are going to be called as major district roads. Major district roads. So this is going to be connecting the state highway and as well as the district. Within the district and the state highways as well as the lower category of the roads is going to be called other district roads. Means each the level of the road is going to be connected and it is going to be giving the passage to the finally it is going to reach us to the national highway. We have one link to other link. We are going to be linkage we are going to be provided within the district is going to be connecting all the roads. Then it is going to be called next level of the road is going to be called a state highway. This is going to be entry to the state highway. And within the district itself is going to be covering is going to be called a major district road. What are the roads that are not going to be connecting? Remote places will be there. That is going to come from the other district road, ODR. Within the district, very far away from the districts. So that is going to be connecting the roads we are going to provide is going to be called other district roads. Finally, we are going to be called as village roads. Means so the lower category of the roads is going to be called as village roads. This is going to be called a district headquarters and taluk headquarters roads. All the lower connectivity of the roads is going to become some of the village roads within the village, and the above that one district. The connectivity you provide the district. It is not directly connecting to the national highway. It is not going to be directly connected to the state highway. Only linkage we are going to provide with the district and the village. So district is going to be connected to the major, and major is going to be connected to the state, and state is going to be connected to the national highway. So this is we are going to be called as a hierarchy will be there. Higher category is national highway. Then it is going to be coming to the state highways, major district roads, other district roads, and village roads. So this is we are going to be called a classification based on location and function. So starting with the lower category is the villages, where we are having that all market centers and various places we are going to be connected. From there we are going to be collecting and we are going to be entering into the district, and from that district we are going to be entering into the state. From the state we are going to be entering into the national highway. There is no straight approach to the national highway. So from the village road, it has to be stage by stage, it has to be entered. So that's why we are having national highway. In the road, while you're going to be traveling on the road, we can able to see that the signboard NH1, NH2, State Highway 1, State Highway 2, like that. NH1 is going to be called as New Delhi, Ambala, and Amritsar is the National Highway 1, NH1. So they are going to be giving that the numbers with respect to the national highways. Similarly, the state highways, they are going to be giving the numbers. Major district road and other district road, village road doesn't have any numbers, only state highway and national highway only we are having given the numbers. Each number will be having that significance or the importance as well as the meaning. What are the places that is going to be connectivity will be there. So that is going to be given by NH with the number. Similarly, state highway with the number, the connectivity of the road we can able to identify it. Or from the map, so the geographical map we can able to understand that what is the national highway 1, what is the national highway 2, similarly state highway 1 and state highway 2, what are the places that is going to be connectivity. So this is the classification of the roads based on location and function. So now, we understand that historical development, what is the JCAR committee and the recommendations, what are the classification of the roads, and what is the importance of JCAR committee recommendations. After classification of the roads, so next part 2, we are going to be discussing about that 20-year road development plans. What are the various development plans to develop the roads in the phase wise, then the road patterns. So then after that, so what is the various alignments and various surveys that will be needed to go for the construction of the roads. So with this today, for this part 1 session, we are going to be concluding with the classification of the roads. In part 2, we are going to be starting with other parts of the road patterns as well as the road development plans, alignment, factors affecting alignment, and the various surveys that we are going to be discussing in the part 2.